Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Got the Are We Back Yet boys in the building, dressed appropriately. Amazon's got mine on the way. We know what we're here to talk about. Quinn Ewers is officially QB1. We're going to break it all down. We're going to have a little celebration, a little victory lap for the head of the Quinn Ewers fan club. You know, Mr. Tark LaCour. We got Kieran in the building, dressed appropriately. We ready for that action. Now, before we get to it, I want to give a quick shout out to BOSR, BOSR.com/Fanatic, the official sponsor, the official sportsbook, the official betting partner of Fanatic Perspective. We got the NFL coming up. We've got college football next weekend happening. Tons to take advantage of. Preseason bets, player prop bets, Heisman bets, NFL MVP bets. Take advantage of all. BOSR 24/7 supports the best in the business. Tarek, I made a promise to you when Quinn Ewers transferred from Ohio State that you would have the opportunity to take the floor. You said it. You proclaimed it. And and when you said it, Kieran and I and this fan base, we received it, brother. I told you get to have your victory lap back in January. You said Quinn Ewers is going to be the starting quarterback for Texas at the start of the 2022 season. You said that, brother. The floor is yours, Tarek LaCour.
All right. Well, first of all, thanks for having me back on. It's always a pleasure. I think Kieran was actually one of the first people I texted because after hearing Sark talk yesterday, because it hasn't been 24 hours since Sark has actually spoken to the media saying, I'm going to go through the scrimmage. I'll let the guys compete. And then, of course, you had Chip Brown of Horns 24/7 leading off with saying it looks like they're leading towards Hudson Card right now, but we'll see. And then, Sark saying, look, we're going to go through this scrimmage, then we'll decide after that. Then Orange Blood's having their moment. I'll just leave it at that. And then Texas Twitter having its moment. And then, looking at the Twitter, and then CJ Vogel says, hey, they just named Quinn Ewers the starting quarterback. So I was just taken aback by that. I think that's how they were feeling too, but I think it's the right decision. I think it's not a slight to Hudson Card. I think that we could have had a successful season with Hudson Card, but I think that Sark is betting on the future, and he's saying, Quinn is my guy. I'm going to fully get behind it, and excited to see what he does.
Kieran, your initial thoughts, man. Thank you, Tarek.
Everyone coming out there and freaking out, on Twitter. I wasn't. I was also off Twitter. I did not know what was going on, to be honest with you. I was completely out of the loop. I got added about 15 times to join spaces yesterday. It was crazy. But we're sitting here. We're enjoying it. You know what I mean? It's a new era. Hopefully this decision is one that we ride with for the rest of the season. Excited to see what he can do. Extremely talented football player. I've been high on him since his sophomore year of high school. I've told that to every single person that I've seen. I'm really excited to see what he does on my birthday, September 3rd. He's going to go out there against ULM. We get to see what it looks like. It's not really too much of a surprise for me. I think the reason he's on campus is because we wanted him to be the starting quarterback this season. So we'll see what happens. I'm rocking the mullet. I'm enjoying it. If you guys didn't know, I got a little business in the front, a little party in the back going on over here. But
we love to see it, Kieran. Guys, if you love the mullets that the Are We Back Yet boys are rocking, Kieran, Tarek LaCour, hit that like button, show us some love. Hit that subscribe button, show us more love. It's free to show love. So take care of us, you know what I'm saying? Especially on a fantastic Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. We're having happy hour. I got my drink flowing. We're celebrating the new starting quarterback, Texas football. And look, like you guys said, the importance of and significance of this particular player, right? And so, he's got the internet in shambles, because people don't want us to have joy. The rival fan bases, they were pushing Hudson Card. People wanted Hudson Card. And I'm not this is not here to slander Hudson Card anything can happen. He will be QB1 at a moment's notice if something happens. I'm not here to slander he's still on my football team. That's not the point. But you got people pushing a certain player out of fear, out of wanting Texas chaos. And the moment Quinn Ewers is named starting quarterback, boosters get involved. Sark was pressured into it. Don't let these people steal your joy. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what narrative you push. This young man was rated what he was rated for a reason. People were after him for a reason. Kieran talks about all the time. You saw it with your own two eyes in person, bro. Like, it's not, there's certain things, some of you saw it Tuesday night at the open practice. And it's also about the ceiling, right? We're looking at somebody who, actually, I'll back up. Kieran posted the video of some of the throws that were missed, the opportunities that were missed with one Xavier Worthy, right? And the lack of execution, if you will. If I get those same looks with Quinn Ewers and we can grow with him and we can run with him and develop with him, because this is not a get rich quick type deal, at least for me. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm in it for the journey. I'm not trying to turn around unless there's an injury. We're in it. We are 10 toes down. Are y'all with me?
Locked in for the next 2 seasons. Straight up.
Yep.
Straight up.
That was something I wanted to note on. Quinn's going to have some struggles. He's a gunslinger. Don't expect him to come in looking like Aaron Rodgers, only throwing like 2 interceptions or something like that. He's going to throw interceptions. He's going to have growing pains. But I think a good comparison to make it a little more realistic, because we already know what goes wrong with the Aaron Rodgers comparisons, is if you look at C.J. Stroud last year, Ryan Day names him the starting quarterback. He struggles against Minnesota. At halftime, people are saying, hey, you're going to give other people a chance. And Ryan Day says, no, this is my guy. We're going to stick with him. He has some struggles against Oregon. This is my guy. Give him time. We're going to stick with him. What happens at the end of the year? Now he comes in second for the Heisman. He might win it this year. He's going to definitely be a top 10 pick. If you stay with it, let the person develop. Quinn can be special. That means that Texas fans, we need to have patience. Now, understandably, it's been a rough decade plus, but give it time. We can get there with them. I really think so.
Patience is key, especially early in the season. Like Tark just said, we're about to play. We have a tough start to the season. I mean, not our opening game, but obviously with Alabama, and when we go into conference play, there's going to be some growing pains. But I've preached, and I'm glad you guys are on board with me. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, right? There's time, like those of us who saw during the golden era of quarterback play at Texas, I saw Vince Young have moments where he looked dominant as a freshman. I saw moments where it's like, oh, he's a freshman, right? But you saw the spark, you saw the talent. And with Colt McCoy, it's a little bit different because Colt McCoy came out and balled as a redshirt freshman, if we're being honest, and then had that step back his sophomore year where it's like, ooh, what's he going to be? He throws 18 interceptions, right? He throws 18 interceptions. But does anybody talk about those 18 picks today?
No.
Nope.
No. It's not relevant. We know what the player became. He developed. I'm happy too. Also, early on the season, if we talk about short term, him getting these, and Kieran, if you want to speak to this, Quinn Ewers is getting all the reps now with the ones. It's his. We're going into this scrimmage this weekend. It'll be his show, which means also however he plays. Hear me, y'all. When they're going through coaching and feedback and all of that, it's all him now.
Mm-hmm.
That's how guys can ramp faster when they get more reps. If you want to elaborate on that or go wherever you want to go, Karen.
That's exactly what I thought. That's why I thought this was actually a good decision leading into this scrimmage. I think we thought Sarkisian was going to make a decision likely after this past weekend at the scrimmage, but apparently things just weren't looking the way that I guess Sarkisian wanted them to look. But now that you've got this scrimmage, you got Quinn running with the first team. you can now start to see where he's comfortable. Like he gets in rhythm with everybody else. What is he comfortable running? What are you guys comfortable running? We're 2 weeks away. It's this scrimmage, and then next week it's a walkthrough and game prep. Like that's like this is you got 2 weeks until the season starts tomorrow. Like that's crazy to me. But it's just, time flies by so fast. But yeah, like I think him getting all those reps with the ones is going to help him out immensely. I think he's going to start progressing even more and more and more. So I think by the time that ULM game comes around, you're going to have Sarkisian's going to have a really good idea of what Quinn is comfortable with. And Quinn's also going to have built up rapport and confidence with everybody else in the room, knowing that he wasn't splitting reps up until Tuesday, the week of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Jess, thank you for your super chat. We appreciate it. Thank you, brother. And ULM, you know, that's a game where, you know, we want to come out looking sharp and looking good. I will say this, and he might put up like some crazy numbers in that game, but I will say this, to Kieran's point, these next 2 weeks, Steve Sarkisian is looking to find out, how large is my menu with this player? What do I have available? What can we prepare? And what do we have to wait a little bit on in terms of this entire, people talk about, and this is where I get into coaching and the responsibility of adjusting to your personnel. It is really, to me, a responsibility of these coaches to make sure that the most talented guys are on the field, because you guys are supposed to be developers. I'm sorry. There's been a notion here at Texas that we don't develop talent. There's been a notion here at Texas that, you know, quarterbacks, you know, won't get developed. People will struggle if they go there. That's why I think it's, you know, look who was in front of the media today, Jatavian Sanders. That those are guys, those 5-star guys that came in here, they need to pop like Bijan's been popping. I need all my 5 stars to look like that. I need them to look like Worthy, right? And some of them are going to grow at different rates. Ajay Hall is going to grow at a slower rate, but hopefully he comes along. It took Jatavian Sanders a year. Hopefully he's here now. Quinn, what's my menu with him, right? Some of this stuff is going to have to be very defined reads, things he did in high school like RPO, screens, and then we get our shot plays off play action. We'll be built around our run game. But I need that guy that can hit over the top on those Sark crossers, on those Sark deep posts for my one-play touchdowns. And he gives me that. And so if he's even with Hudson Card, who, yes, has experience and, yes, has been here, but if they're running back and forth and people are telling me that they're seeing them in person and there's not that difference, then I got to go with the younger guy, which is really what Sark did last year, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't he go with the younger guy to start the year last year? Now, I think if you asked him, maybe he would have done it differently and maybe stuck it out more with Hudson Card. I don't know. But I'm pleased with where we're at now, but expect them to grow on top of things.
I guess my concern would be, I think Sarkisian has, and rightfully so, little patience for, I don't want to say, what's a good word for it? Is ineptitude a word?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that. Like if you're not capable of running his system to the liking of that he sees it as, you know what I mean? Like if you're not capable of making the throws whenever you need to be making the throws, I think he's quick to pull that trigger. I think that's why you saw last season when Hudson Card went out and Casey Thompson's playing with one thumb, he's not putting Hudson Card back in because he's just like, I don't know if I could trust you to. And I think once that trust gets broken, it's a lot to come back from. But that being said, who knows what's going to happen this season when Quinn starts making those mistakes? That would be my one concern. That still is a concern for me. Do I think that he's going to ride with Quinn? Yes, because I think Sark is a guy that learns from his mistakes. I think he's going to try to stick with Quinn throughout this entire season and just live with the growing pains, because I think there's higher upside with Quinn, and I think that's been clear. But also, I think you rock with Quinn because the competition's close. One guy's been here for he just got done with his first spring in college ball ever, and then his first fall camp, like his first full fall camp. And
Right.
He's already competing with someone that's been here for 3 years. Like, obviously, I thought Quinn was going to end up winning that if it was close. But I do think Sark like really believes in him, and I think Sark is. Oh, this is going to sound crazy, but you'll pick up on it when I explain it further. I think Quinn Ewers is to Sark right now what Tom Herman was to Sam Ehlinger, or Sam Ehlinger was to
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like I'm going to put my career
Ride
on
or
the line.
die.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with you. Like you're my quarterback. I'm gonna figure it out with you. We're gonna ride together. We're gonna figure this thing out. That's what I'm gonna do. Tom Herman got here 4 years, 4 years of Sam Ehlinger. Didn't end up working out with him at the end, but at the same time, he rode with his guy. His guy ended up developing. Now he's an NFL quarterback. I think what Sarkisian's trying to do is ride with Quinn Ewers, and I'm all for it.
Jacob Cox, thank you for the donation. No, we out here, man. And thank you for showing us love. Make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe. We got brothers in here wearing mullets. Y'all hear me? We have brothers in here wearing mullets. That's how you know we lit today on this glorious Friday, my brothers. We got another super chat here from Chili. Chili, 2 days in a row with the super chat. I appreciate it, brother. And I'm gonna be nice today. I know I was rude to you last night, brother, but I appreciate it. We still owe you an ass whooping in Baton Rouge. I will leave you with that. Did you put your money on Jaden Daniels to win the Heisman Trophy, Chili? On BUSR, busr.com/fanatic, the official sportsbook, official sponsor.
Is he even started yet? Is Jaden Daniels even the starter yet at LSU?
He's getting a bulk of the snaps. Chili can tell us more about that.
That's what I thought.
Nussmeier had a little injury, but they're still kind of neck and neck. I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels to start up down there. But yeah, man, you guys hit that. Now, here's the thing. In terms of, let's talk personnel around Quinn Ewers, right? So we know the injuries we've suffered. You know, that position over there, you know, our boundary receiver, whatever you want to call it, whether it's Casey Kane or if they take a look at some of the other guys that rumored to be, what do you think this offense looks like personnel-wise around Quinn, guys?
Kieran, you want to go first? Or you want me to go?
Personnel-wise, 12. Like I think you're gonna run 2 tight end sets a lot. I think you're gonna have Jatavian Sanders and Jaleel Billingsley in there. It's gonna. I mean, we're still gonna be a run-centric team. As much as like I think if you ended up getting like a Jordan Addison, then maybe it's like okay, sure. But losing Isaiah Nair, that doesn't help either. I think you're gonna try to be as multiple as you can from 12 personnel sets with those 2 tight ends. That's what it's gonna look like around him. I think they're gonna try to give Quinn as much help as they can early on, but then later on, I think they end up getting it done through the air with consistency. But.
Go ahead, Tark.
I agree. You're going to have a lot of 12 personnel, but I think you're going to see a lot of different sets. I think you're going to see a lot of 2-back sets with trying to get more running backs involved. I think actually you will see a lot more 11 personnel than you would have seen before with Isaiah Nair going down. That will change how you're going to do the 12 personnel a little bit because I think you could run it perfectly with 12 personnel when you had Isaiah Nair because Nair's basically a tight end and a wide receiver because how big he is and things like that. But I think you'll see a lot more 11 than you would have seen with Nair staying. And also, I think a lot of this is going to be dictated on the next few weeks. What does Sark think of Savion Red and Brennan Thompson? How does he see them playing in? I think that'll change some things up because I think that's going to also dictate how, you use Jordan Whittington and other things. But you're definitely going to be a run-centric, play-action team. Play to your strengths.
That's what Sark's been doing. To be honest, I am concerned though, given how long Roschon Johnson's going to be out about the 2-back sets, just because. Yes, I think there's going to be some people that can complement each other. Like I think Keelan Robinson, being the speed threat that he is dangerous in like some go-go type formations, but also blocking wise, it's a real concern. Because Roschon is your best blocker. Like he shores up some things back there. Like I've seen Roschon take on some DNs and actually hold his own a little bit. But yeah, I think we were going to be extremely multiple, but I think now there's going to be an emphasis on using these tight ends because they're so dynamic.
Yep. Surfer boy. First off, God bless you, brother. I know you guys are getting ready to go and try to defend your title. Back with Stetson again. So welcome. My brother, if I was Doug and Cindy Card and Sarkisian threw my son out there again as the sacrificial lamb for another SEC school, I would sue Steve Sarkisian. That's just how I feel. Bro, you're not going to sacrifice my child again just so you can put the other dude in right after. We not going to do that 2 years in a row. So I actually think from a standpoint of baptism by fire, yeah, it's going to be a baptism. All right. But if Quinn Ewers is who we think he is, I'm not worried about, oh, what if Quinn looks terrible against Bama? Is he going to melt? Are we going to lose him? I don't see that same type of anything can happen. But from the mental standpoint, I don't see him ending up like a Garrett Gilbert, right? Or somebody where they just lose who they are as a player and that confidence and that bravado. I think that's actually a strength of Quinn's.
And
I think
Quinn will
that's
throw an ugly pick and come right back and just
anyone who's worried about that, I encourage them to watch the Westlake South Lake Carroll championship game, where Quinn would throw a bad pass, get right back up, and keep going. And he was, he's playing on a hernia at that point, still not fully recovered, still throwing lots of great passes. So he's a tough dude. He'll be fine.
John Kennedy, thank you for the donation. Hook 'em. Appreciate you. Hook 'em. Yeah, I mean,
I want to ask you
go ahead, Karen.
Does Quinn Ewers being named the starter give you higher or lower or same expectations as far as what we're thinking for this team this year?
Same for me.
Given the injuries that we've had in the past week as well.
Same.
Okay.
And the reason being, Karen, with year 2, again, with this staff, and to me, we've upgraded the offensive staff. They've got to adjust. They've got to help these kids out. They've got to meet them halfway. I mean, yeah, kids got to develop, and we've got to make sure the people that are out there are executing and doing their job, like you showed. Don't leave that many home run balls on the field, right? Like straight up, right? And little stuff. However, getting back to, some of the great coaches in the sport of football, adversity happens. I saw the coach, I think it was Coach Irwin, that was on 3 with Bobby Burton. I think it was earlier today or earlier this week.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. Okay. So Coach Irwin said, he basically in a roundabout way said, great teams overcome, they overcome adversity. Like you have to overcome something to band together and form that bond, right? And so things are very rarely just ever fully clean, and you're just blessed and lucky. And what we've seen at Texas is when that happens, we've fallen asleep at the wheel sometimes, or somebody gets in trouble last minute. So we have to do, and when I say we, I'm talking about Steve Sarkisian, Brennan Marion, Kyle Flood, Jeff Banks. They've got to put whatever they're going to do personnel-wise, and we can speculate and all that. The way you see Sean McVay pivot, Sean McVay loses a Robert Woods in the NFL last year. He loses a Cam Akers before the freaking season starts. And I'm going to make my offense hum. Like, it doesn't matter. I have a first-year quarterback in Matthew Stafford in my system. It doesn't matter. I'm adjusting, right? I'm fluid as a coach. Yeah. I need Sark to have that same type of fluidity. I understand people saying his system's difficult. His system, he wants all these things. It's complicated, blah, blah, blah. It's your job, though, to meet these players in the middle and make sure they are playing fast. They're playing with confidence. And Ryan Day did a good job of this with C.J. Stroud last year. He did not give C.J. Stroud a full menu at the beginning of the year. But if you watch C.J. Stroud play quarterback in the Rose Bowl, pre-snap, Kieran, look, you see him calling out safeties. Yeah, his body language is different. Yep. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's why I use that example.
It takes time and development too. And that's, I mean, I have no doubt that Quinn Ewers, whenever he grasps this system, is going to be elite, like one of the top quarterbacks in the country, because I think that's how talented he is. I just know it's going to be it's tough whenever you know that there's going to be a learning curve, and then you have the best team in the country, likely one of Nick Saban's best teams ever, coming into Austin week 2.
I don't know about that. Well,
I mean, I'm telling you, defense, offense, you got a Heisman winner at quarterback. You got 2 top 5 overall draft picks on the edges on the defensive side of the ball. you got no, it's that I don't want to see them. Like,
I want to give a shout out to Fresh Prince. Thank you for the super chat. Hook 'em. Fresh Prince 512 said, "Do you think Sark purposely fed info to pay sites? I don't think Sark was happy with their negative, reports about some transfers being lazy." So basically, what you're referring to is, some of the paid sites like Orange Bloods or 247 or On3, anybody out there receiving intel that Hudson Card was going to be the guy, and it was kind of, people were really, really running with it last night. And you're saying, hey, it was kind of a revenge tactic. I don't know if it was to that degree. I think, coaches do play games. See the coaches poll with somebody putting
that's crazy still.
People play games. Coaches play games. Coaches have egos. We talk about this all the time, at least with me and you guys privately, right? What do y'all think about this, though? I've been wrestling back and forth with this because I think it came up in our group chat last night about was this a company corporate like PR stunt where you kind of gauge how people are feeling and then you go the other way type deal? But I know 40 brought that up too. But what do y'all think about this particular one? Kieran, you want to go?
I'll be honest, for when people are saying that, like, oh, the boosters have their hands on everything, it's not a good look. It's not when like most of the paid sites are coming out saying like, hey, it's looking like Hudson Card is like kind of closing in on winning this thing, and then boom, out of nowhere, as soon like not like within 24 hours of everybody freaking out, losing their mind, it's just like, oh yeah, okay, Quinn's the starter now. So like all the like I do get a laugh out of like the like, oh, there's like a gun to the back of Steve Sarkisian while he's like waving out of the window saying like, yeah, Quinn is starting. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
that one was funny.
I get it. I think we don't know. I don't think we're ever really gonna know, but I would like to think that Steve Sarkisian went out there and he's trying to find a mole. You know what I mean? Like that would be funny as well. But I think Sarkisian has an idea of what he wants for this team. And I think he just made the decision that everyone thought he was going to make the entire time. Now, if Card was out here just like no doubt about it, outperforming him, I think not only would there be like real questions, but also you'd see the team be like, hey, yo, what's going on?
There you go.
I mean? That to me is the thing. Like seeing Xavier Worthy come out and be like, oh, let's get it 3. Like, okay, like obviously, like they've seen some things in practice, like they've gone out there and see why Quinn has been the starter.
They want to win, and I've because I've been getting some stuff from people saying, oh, Texas this and booster stepping it, blah blah blah, and they're saying it in the light that we're looking to play games or do something else instead of the primary objective, which is to win football games. The primary objective, which is to put the best people on the field that give me the best chance to win each and every Saturday. And my response to that is when you look at, how football works, especially the quarterback and the kids and they're responding, right? This is a position of leadership. This is a position where you have to look guys in the eye and command excellence from them to protect you, to catch for you, to do whatever is needed, right? And so those guys will push back. And Kieran, look, we both, we have some relationships with some guys on the team. We know what they say, how they feel. Like it's not like they would be real with us and be like, bro, this is kind of cap, bro. Yeah. Like we've gotten none of that.
No,
none of that.
That's what's most telling is like whenever these types of situations go down and everyone's talking about like, oh, they're just going to choose a starting quarterback because the boosters told them to, or because of politics or this and that. I'm like, you do realize like the number one, like screw the interest of the boosters, of anything like that. The people that you will piss off the most is the people in the room that are working next to these people. And they see that you just gave someone that's not on the same level an advantage that they did not earn. They are seeing them play every day. If that was the case, then I'd be really concerned. But it doesn't seem like that's what's going on here.
Before I get to Tarek, y'all hit that like button. Thank you, Luke C. Hit that like button. Show some love. Make sure you subbed up. Appreciate y'all. Everybody in here is doing dynamic content. Follow these guys on Twitter. I'll put up their Twitter handles. But appreciate y'all. So, Tarek, go ahead, man.
Well, first of all, I don't know if either of you saw the Orange Bloods video after Quinn Ewers was named the starter, where I mean, Anwar's face, it looked like 50 girls had just shot him down in a row. It was, they were looking pretty distraught after that. But as far as was it a head fake? I don't know if it was from Sark himself, but something was really off to me when Sark said at Big 12 Media Day that I kind of already think I have an idea of what I want to make an announcement, who I'm going to go with. He says the same thing at the beginning of camp. He kind of keeps telling the same story, and we knew coming out of camp that Quinn was looking better than Card, even though it wasn't until after that scrimmage last week that anyone was even thinking it was possible Card was going to be named the starter when Quinn didn't have the greatest scrimmage. So I guess it could have been Sark doing that, masterminding that. We know that Sark does pay attention to Twitter. I mean, he does tweet out a lot more than I guess Tom Herman does and some other coaches do. So I wondered if he just kind of was sitting there laughing all last night as that was all going down. But we'll never know. So,
and look, I don't have anything against anybody in the industry. I understand they have a job to do. They're covering this team, and media. They have to work in relationship with the team too, in terms of players and these evaluations, and especially with NIL being in here now and the complexities that brings. So I'm not here to look. At the end of the day, I'm a Texas football fan. We Texas football fans. I want to see people win, but when you come out strong, right? And you come out strong and you say, hey, this is this. I trust my sources, I trust my intel. Then there's smoke that comes the other way when things don't go. That's just life, right? Like I've had that happen on my channel. Somebody brought up Cowboys. I was infamously wrong and strong about Amari Cooper when we made the trade for him in the first round pick many moons ago. That video is still up. I have not deleted it. I will be wrong like that again about something. So, it's just one of those times where, Catch and Anwar, they do what they do, are nothing but respect, but they feeling it right now. And a lot of people in the industry are feeling it right now. And
everyone makes a mistake. It's really not that big of a deal.
No.
Yeah, it's really not that big of a deal. I think
it's not
gonna just.
It's kind of funny. We'll laugh about it today, and then
yeah, it'll be over. Now, this is a funny comment I saw actually on their YouTube channel. Imagine if it was the other way around. Imagine they went out and said that Quinn Ewers was gonna win the starting job, and then Hudson Card got named today. I don't think they'd ever live that down. I don't think they'd ever live that down. Given what Twitter did over the past 24 hours since they released that, I don't know if they could ever live that down. That would be crazy.
Well, yeah, I guess it's one of those things of if you as Karl Popper said about science, he said good science it sticks its neck out, which means it can get refuted. So if you stick your neck out on things like that, you can get your head chopped off. It's just the way it is. But it's no big deal. It is what it is. We'll laugh about it today. Tomorrow, let's move on.
That's the job that they have. I mean, Eric Nelling went out months before and said, I think Texas is going to land Arch Manning. And he was like the first national analyst to put a prediction out there. And
I mean, he'd been saying that for like a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It ended up hitting. That's the business that they're in.
So,
yeah, and look, I'd rather talk about, again, as a fan, I'd rather talk about Quinn Ewers. I mean, and granted, it's the outcome. Here's one thing I was bold about on the channel. A few weeks ago, I came out flat out and said I would prefer to go with Quinn Ewers. I stated my reasons why, and I've been pretty consistent on that. And when I think about, because the outcome went in my favor, I'm not over here, dancing at somebody else for getting something wrong, especially being in the chair I sit in now. I don't care about that. I care about what does this scrimmage look like? What's he learning? How are we getting him ready? What's that menu going to look like the first couple weeks? And being on this journey with him and hopefully him staying healthy too. I have concerns, right? I'd rather talk about the player and things that we're going to see versus getting into this battle of paid sites, right? You know,
Yeah.
these people have a job to do. They're human beings just like everybody else. It is what it is. With Quinn, though, this offensive line. So, Kieran, there's concerns. You know, we don't know what that first five is going to look like just yet. I think we're getting closer. But, hey, Kieran, we're marrying a very young, potentially very young offensive line
Not
with a young
potentially.
quarterback.
It's going to be a young offensive line. There's no other way around it now with Junior
You
Angilau.
see where I'm going with this.
Two freshmen are starting. Straight up.
That would be the conservative wager.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you could be. I wholeheartedly believe we could go into that Oklahoma game starting 3 or 4 freshmen.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Like this is going to be a very green offensive line, which is why my expectations for the season. I listen. I was not expecting these guys. Like, okay, I really wanted these guys to come in and compete early on. I wanted them to look elite. I wanted them to hear I wanted to hear the things that we're hearing about Kelvin Banks right now, right? But also, I didn't want Cam Williams to be competing with Christian Jones at this point. Like I love Cam Williams, but like, man, the fact that that's a real question right now, it's like, okay, well, good God, you know what I mean? Like, we'll see what happens. Just this offensive line is going to be so young. It's made me take a step back, and it's sort of made me a little bit more conservative on my predictions for this season. Simply because they're so young. I think by the end of this year, we're going to be looking at a line that could be good to elite next year. But early on, man, there's going to be some really tough growing pains. And now you're going to have Quinn Ewers go out there. It's going to be a lot for Sarkisian to handle, especially early on, and keeping their confidence up and dealing with the mistakes and having those coachable moments that end up good and not bad. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of those moments early on in this season, I just think, because this line is very young.
I think one of the challenges too is that they had a plan. I think Kyle Flood was getting somewhere with the whole Junior Angilau moving to center and really trying to. So I said this, I think, on a Twitter Spaces a while ago. I don't know if anybody remembers it, but when I was asked about how would you handle the offensive line? And granted, Kyle Flood knows more than probably anybody else in college football when it comes to what he's being tasked to do with and the challenge that's in front of him. But my response to that was, in terms of like how I would handle it, is I would want the 5 best guys cohesively that give me my best run blocking unit. That's what I would want. I want my best run blocking unit out there, because I don't think we have the maturity and all the things yet where we have to just put the 5 most talented people out there that can pass block, run block, do everything we want to do. Not yet. However, I can put a group out there where we're strong as hell and we actually can move the line on inside zone. We like, you know, some of these teams you see out here where even if you know they're running inside zone, they don't really care. They're going to get their, ugly yards, whatever they need to get. I wanted to at least have that so I can build my RPO and build my play action off of it. That was my purpose behind that. And also showcasing Bijan Robinson. Losing Junior Angilau and now having to go back to really sticking with Jake Majors we really now need Jake Majors to stay healthy at center, all things considered, in my opinion.
Yes. Who's your backup now? Is it DJ Campbell?
Cole Hudson?
Hudson, maybe?
Parr?
Well, Hudson is actually a center, so that would make the most sense.
How many reps has he had at center?
No, that's a good point.
Yeah. I know he's really wanted that center spot. I think like him and Connor Robertson are probably going to end up competing for that later on, but
yeah,
I don't know.
It's tough. It's not a fun place to be in for the center spot, that's for sure.
It's not. If there was one injury that you really it was going to kind of diminish your returns this year on the offensive line, it was Junior Angilau. And that loss really stings. That to me is probably the biggest loss we could have had offensively outside of Worthy or Bijan.
Yep.
Yeah, because if I have Angular in there, I was cool putting 2 young guards next to him.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I think
That's
that was
fine.
the plan.
That was the plan. We put Hayden Connor on one side, put Cole Hudson on the other side, and then whoever wins right tackle, I got Kelvin Banks at left, and let's roll. That's at least my group to start with.
Yeah.
And then throughout the season, I make tweaks. But I know I can run inside zone with that group.
Yeah.
And there, because I'm telling you, this offense, even with what we saw last year and what they got to with all the deficiencies and all the things they had, once they actually can run the freaking football via inside zone the way that we know that Steve Sarkisian once showed, my goodness. You think people were running naked last year. That's what they were trying to do. But again, coaches solve problems like Rob Baber said, like people have said in the chat. Again, he has to pivot and they have to figure this out.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially coming off a 5-7 season.
What I think, okay, I think the reason why I'm so, I don't even know if pessimistic is the right word, but like the reason I'm down right now, my expectations have been lowered.
Define down though. Define down.
8-4. I legit think we'll go 8-4, hopefully 9-3. Like that, if we go 9-3 this year, it'll be a great season. It's because this year is so much, it's a building block. It's not we're going to be playing so many young people on this offensive side of the ball. Whereas I was like, oh yeah, we've got all of this talent coming back. You got Nair, you got Ungalau. Like we're going to be able to like throw in one freshman maybe on this offensive line. But now hearing that 2, 3 possibly could be starting by the end of year 4 could be, obviously that was like a possibility in our minds, but like to see it come to fruition now is just like, oh man, this is going to be, I would love for them to just go out there and just compete and be elite right off the bat, but it's just not going to happen that way. It never does in college football. I don't see it happening that way. So here's to hoping that we have that sort of anomaly type season, but I think this year is us setting up a really solid foundation for next season, but it also stings because offensively, Bijan Robinson is the best running back in the country. I think, like you said, if we are going to put a good solid 5 up front, it needs to be as good of a run blocking unit as you can, because that's how you maximize this offensive potential. But at the end of the day, do I think that that's going to give us a Big 12 championship? I don't know. I can't say that.
They're going to need some luck.
Yeah.
If we start talking about championships like that, I mean, Baylor won a championship, and I believe
they had so many close games last year.
Yeah, they had so many close games last year, and you know, I think they're going to have an upgrade with the new quarterback, but he actually started the Big 12 championship game. It wasn't Gary Bohannon, right? And so, but it didn't matter. Like they kept figuring stuff out. I mean, luck factors in if you want to if you want to be ahead of schedule. Now, I do think by 2023, if we're still in the Big 12, the expectation is going to be, hey, y'all need to go win the conference, or y'all need to be like it needs to be, depending on what OU looks like there's going to be an expectation, 10 wins. Like this thing should be baking at this point. No disrespect, Charlie, but like this thing needs to be humming, right? Like, so I think expectations right now, if we're saying 8-4, I can sell 8-4. But I've also said this though. So let me counter 8-4. But what does 8-4 look like? Because everything changes when the games start, and all of a sudden new superstars emerge and things change, and certain teams that we thought were going to be excellent aren't.
I got bad news for you.
What?
4 losses this season isn't going to look good regardless. Doesn't matter. Doesn't, like, I'm sorry, like we should be more talented than all these teams. We should be beating all of these teams. And I think if you do have 3 losses outside of Alabama, and and 2 of those are not OU, it's going to look bad regardless. Especially given that, like not saying that we just think we're going to go 11-1 or 10-2, but it's not gonna look pretty. I don't think an 8-4 season, as good as it would be for us building towards the next season, I don't think an 8-4 season looks good given what the Big 12 looks like this year.
I still
Steve,
think you
Steve,
hold
can I
most of
jump
the
into like kind of
Go ahead,
back you up a little bit? I think where you're going with that is there's a way you could sell 8-4 as being good if you're at the end of the season, you're just winning all the games you're supposed to. You're seeing it come together. You're seeing progress. You're seeing more of a path. You say there are things you can sell versus it looked like you just kept getting worse and worse after the OU game last year. I think that's what Steve's getting at. Yeah, I would agree with that. I still think, even with all the injuries, all that's going down, because the Big 12 is not a great conference, and that's putting it mildly, I still think you can get 9-3 if Bijan stays healthy. That's going to be the big thing. Bijan stays healthy, I think you can get 9-3 with him and the other weapons we have. The key for Bijan of how to use him, I think, is remember how Najee Harris was used by Sark in 2020, using him in the pass game and all those things. That's the way to use Bijan this year.
You know what I noticed the past couple of weeks?
What's that?
Why is it now that when we start thinking about the success of or failure of this team, before it was like, oh, the offense is going to be the better unit no matter what. I think a lot of people still believe the offense is probably going to be the better unit. But now it's like, we might not win if we're not capable of getting things done offensively. How strange is that? You know what I mean? Given how we played last year with what I think was a less talented team, I just think it's tough now because I think what we don't all want to say is this offensive line might not be better. I think it will be. I think it will be.
Mean?
This offensive line in the first half of the season, can you say will be better than what the offensive line was the second half of last season?
It's hard to say that.
Can you say that?
No, because first of all, because I don't know what the line's going to be yet. They haven't been announced. And second, we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, so, but would it even be like an accurate prediction?
I think it's reasonable. I think it's reasonable to say, hey, can we start the year where they left off against how we felt they looked against West Virginia and how they looked against Kansas State? I don't think that's unreasonable, Karen.
I don't.
If they look like that, that's a way better unit than we saw at the beginning of the year.
I'll put it this way. If we have a better offensive line this season, in the first half of the season, than we did last year at any point, we're going to win the Big 12. Straight up. My thing is they're so
You're saying
young.
that without seeing the defense at all? You feel that?
Yeah, no,
okay.
I really feel that strongly. I do. Because I think you have better skill position talent around them. I think you have a better unit. I think you have Sarkisian now a year into calling against Big 12 defenses. You have new coaches all over the place. But I don't think the offensive line is going to be better with 3 freshmen starting in the first half of the year, possibly.
So you're saying we're going to take a dip from where we were against West Virginia and Kansas State.
I'll say that we're straight up even or a little bit below. By the end of the year, I think this offensive line is 100% going to be better than anything we saw last year. Because development, time, this unit's got to click. We forget we're talking about starting 3 freshmen, and only one of them was here in spring ball.
But aren't some of these people beating some of the people that were starting at the end of the year, though?
Sure.
I mean, Kelvin Banks has just pushed Andre Carrick just out of the way.
Yeah, literally. But was Carrick playing significant reps last year? Well, Christian Jones was starting. You know what I mean? Denzel Okafor was starting. Tope Amade was starting. Jimmy Arbala was starting.
And we're not sure. Well, we're not even sure Christian Jones is going to be starting this year either.
Yeah, but we're not sure he's going to be starting. But if he is, I think he's right there, even with Cam Williams. If that ends up happening, if Cam Williams is getting in.
Hey, Ben Jacobs, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Like we said earlier, Jatavian Sanders getting media availability. Good to see that brother out there. Says Savion Red's nickname is Deebo Samuel. Christian Jones said Red is a breakout candidate. Thoughts? I love every single thing about Savion Red, including how he looks in pads. I saw the brother in his. You guys know I'm a big look good, play good guy. When I saw him in his pads, I was like, that brother looks like he's about to step off on somebody. I don't know what it was. It was the way he had his rolls tucked in. I don't know what it was, but I was like, okay, that guy's ready to ball, right? It's the same thing when you go play pickup basketball. You can tell by body language and by the bros that walk in with the bag and switch the shoes and the way they do it. That guy's a hooper. Same thing in football. That guy's a baller. I don't know how better to explain that. Those who know. Savion Red is one of them. And I think he's going to help us in a myriad of ways, maybe early on in special teams. But I'm excited with some of the opportunities that we have coming up and some of the things I've heard from you guys that went to the open practice this week. Really, really excited to see that guy showcase. And we're a young football team right now, so we need some guys to step up for sure.
Yeah. Wide receiver is going to figure itself out. I think we have so much talent there right now, just waiting. I mean, Ajay Hall gets his situation figured out. Savion Red's there. Brendan Thompson's there. Hopefully Jordan Whittington stays healthy. Casey Kane, hopefully he comes on. One of those guys is going to be able to produce. I'll put it that way. You just need one of them.
Somebody asked earlier, I don't know if you saw it, Steve, do you expect Casey Kane to be better than Marcus Washington?
That's been a recurring question all over the Texas sphere. Go ahead and tackle that, Mark.
Okay, so Marcus Washington had one really good game for Texas, and that was the Kansas game. He looked pretty good, especially at the end, making some of those good catches. But he was really inconsistent. So if Casey Kane can just be consistent, then yeah, he can be. I don't know if Casey Kane is as fast as Marcus Washington. Washington could get he had ways of getting open and finding things like that. We'll just have to see if Casey Kane is the starter at X. But also, Ajay Hall, man, did he pick like just the worst time to get in trouble? Like Nate goes down, you would think, okay, you got Ajay there.
He'd be repping with the ones right now.
Exactly. I mean, he's the closest thing on this team that's something like Isaiah Nair. Now he's not there. Obviously, he hasn't produced that, but he's got the body. He's got the things that you love about Isaiah Nair. Ajay Hall has those, and then he gets in trouble right before it goes down. It's just like, of course.
So I see a lot of people talking about the blocking. I don't think there's any receiver on this team that can block as well as Marcus Washington blocked. And that was valuable.
I don't know. Well, Nair when he was healthy, he was a good blocker. I was saying that at the spring game.
He was good. Marcus Washington was
took pride in it.
Oh yeah,
that's a good way to say it. He took pride in it. I mean, again, the opening touchdown against OU, Marcus Washington clears out. It makes it so easy to run bubble screens with a guy like that out there. But you're out there to catch passes. Let's be real, right? You're out there to get busy. And to me, and I see a lot of people saying this, I think the question is, can Casey Kane be more consistent than Marcus Washington? If he's just consistent, he's going to be the guy that's not sexy. If he can be, and granted, it's a different role because Karen's going to know where I'm going with this. Cedric Wilson last year on the Cowboys was just consistent. Cedric Wilson just got the job done. Now, Cedric Wilson was playing slot for the Cowboys, and we're asking Casey Kane to be outside and winning and being, that bigger physical guy. However, if he can be consistent, Marcus Washington had consistency problems, whether it was catching the football, whether it was keeping your feet in bounds. I keep going back to OU game. He had an opportunity to get his feet down, and we could have got 6 instead of a field goal, right? And so just different opportunities where that consistency comes into play. With Casey Kane, I am pleased to see he looks consistent from what I've seen, but we won't know until we get him in games. Troy O'Mary, I still think we're a year away from Troy O'Mary really, really being back to the guy if he can ever get back to that guy we saw that was in those practice clips his freshman year that just looks so dynamic. If he can get that brace off, it's really, really difficult for guys like that. I'm glad he's healthy. I'm glad he's able to, to help us out. And, if he can give us what he can in the snaps that he plays, that's a bonus. But those are guys I'm looking at like more so like icing than anything else. The other thing I want to add, Tarek, is with Ajay Hall. We got to play the long game with him because he is so talented, and he is the person with the skill set that can give you what Isaiah Nayer gave you. I agree with that. But like like I was just saying with Marcus Washington, the consistency aspect, that's something that Ajay Hall's dealt with going back to Alabama. So he's going to need some time to develop. I say you stick with the kid as long as he doesn't do anything, continue to do wild stuff, and he can kind of rein it in and hone it in. And the guys like Brennan Marion and Tashard Choice.
Who hasn't been mad enough though at Texas parking to take a boot off their own car? I mean, we've all found that.
I know, but also look, for guys that are having maturity things, this is why I said the red flags were there. Now, again, like I said, I want to love on the kid and develop him and hope he becomes what he's supposed to become on and off the field. And I think that's definitely on the table for Ajay Hall. But going to school, those of you especially that went to Texas, maturity, if you have maturity problems, Texas is not the best school to be at if you can't take care of your business on your own, if you know what I mean, okay? There's a lot going on. You need people, whether you're there as an athlete or there as a student, to stay focused because there's so much being thrown at you as an 18, 19, 20-year-old in Austin, Texas, in that part of the city, okay? So he's got to mature and develop in all those things, but I think we'll see him sooner rather than later. UT parking, I think Texas Homer is going to make the documentary about, the
it'll be better than the Manside Sale one.
The evil that is UT parking and the doom they cause in people's lives. But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. Shout out to Texas Homer. Tarek, it's a good day for you, man. Validation a little bit. We get to officially start the era, move forward, and build around this kid, man, and hopefully get us out of this rut that this program's been in the last 12 years.
Absolutely. Can I answer this with Football Texas without the ACLs?
Yeah.
Look, yeah, I guess I'm torn on it. I see why people use turf because it's easier for a lot of things, but it doesn't give on your knees, and yeah, that does seem statistically just it might be better to just go ahead and do the grass. What do you think?
We have a lot of smart people at that school.
Yeah.
We have a lot of, the studies and all the things that go into it. This is a billion-dollar industry, multi-billion-dollar industry. You would think that, between the surface, the equipments the players use, including their cleats, we'd be able to figure out how to at least reduce those things. So I don't know enough about it to really speak on it more than I've always been preferential to grass, but it sucks, man. It sucks. I know how Nash feels about the turf. We've talked about that, Nash.
Yeah, it was a great one.
Sorry about that. I'm back now. Yeah, turf sucks. Straight up, turf sucks. I like grass fields. I don't think.
Having said that, if we do change, it needs to just be all one or all the other though. Like, all right, everyone have grass, or not this like back and forth stuff. That's
I'm almost okay with it though, because if you have a game that week against Tech, they have a turf field, then I need to start practicing on turf. But if we have a game against Iowa State or a game in the Cotton Bowl, they're playing on grass. So like I'm almost okay with that, but I don't like turf just in general.
I see you, Texas Homer.
Yeah. Said it has nothing to do with injuries. So hey, people, this is the debate that will continue.
there's just been some of those ACLs with. Of course, I still remember you had one in the national championship game and the Super Bowl. So
Hey. Texas was good when we had grass.
Jamison
Thank you, Jay,
Williams
for the super chat. Appreciate it. Hook 'em. He said soccer players don't tear their ACLs as much and they run much more than football players.
They do, but also they don't have to jump and cut as much. Meaning like wide receivers jumping, cutting. Also, you mix that with contact. It's a lot. They do have no contact ACLs, but it's not typically because like, okay, I'm running on the outside. I'm catching a screen pass. Or like, I'm catching a bubble and I have to like jump up and then like plant to try to shake someone in front of me. Like it's a little different. But I do agree. Grass is safer for your knees. Because at the end of the day, you put that cleat in the ground. If you end up having to push off, like the chunk of grass will just fly up. And that's it. Instead of your foot getting stuck there, twisting up, and then now your knee is gone. I don't know if that makes sense. It'd make more sense if I can like show it, but I think you guys get what I'm saying.
makes sense to me.
Yeah. So I want to we'll go till 6 because I actually have to go to it, and we actually will go till 6 because I have to go to a dinner thing tonight. So everybody that's
I have a thing at 6 too. So
yeah,
okay.
I'm busy.
Hey, you guys, by the way, since I know some people are going to take some bets on whether or not we're going to go over, hit up busr.com/fanatic, the official sports book, the official betting partner of Fanatic Perspective. Really appreciate our sponsor and partners. You know, lot to go in on. As these last 10 minutes, I want to say a few things, okay? And hear me out on this because somebody brought up defense. I feel as though this defense is going to make some improvements. I don't think they're going to be, if they're as bad as they were last year, then that people aren't going to have jobs. Let's just be real.
Yes.
A
lot of people aren't going to have jobs. Yeah.
People aren't going to have jobs. So if this defense can improve and show progress and show cohesion and show communication, I think expectations for what I would like to see based upon our schedule, the personnel we have, knowing the talent level, knowing the experience and inexperience, as well as traits of certain people on said defense. I believe we'll be better, but we still will need to win games offensively. That's just how I'm looking at things right now, my personal opinion. I think this decision to play Quinn Ewers actually supports what my defense will need, because I need a quarterback that can put points on the board, be aggressive, pushing the ball downfield. I also need a quarterback that, when we're down a couple touchdowns or stuff is going bad, he can rally. He can have that short memory and take some risk and have the talent to capitalize on the risk that he's taking. So I've always said, sometimes you have to pick your quarterback based upon your situation. Surfer Boy's in here. They can play Stetson Bennett because Stetson Bennett's a game-managing quarterback. And that's not a negative term, by the way. That's not a negative term. If I was Kirby Smart and I knew my defense was was playing in the margin of allowing 10 to 17 points every Saturday, then I can get away with the guy that knows my offense cold, is going to make great decisions and not turn the football over. That's what I'm looking for from the quarterback, because I know my defense is going to win the games, right? And so in our particular case, we're going to have some Saturdays where we need 45 points. And I can't have the guy that's afraid to pull the trigger, so to speak, right? And so I think you have to also make decisions. Go ahead.
And if he pulls the trigger, as Kieran showed, he tends to go wide right.
So we have those are things. We have to take advantage of those things. And so I think that's important to know here in terms of the why, even in the short term of, hey, how we're trying to win football games, right? I don't think this is just again, people are going to comment on this video. People are going to comment on, those of you who have friends, haters, all sorts of stuff. People are going to say, no, y'all paid for Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers is going to start at quarterback no matter what. This was never a quarterback competition. I don't care about that anymore because, like y'all said, I'm not in the room. I just know what my football team needs in order to have success. And I think we're going to need to be able to score points. We have Bijan Robinson was named the top 5 player in college football, according to ESPN's whole college football staff. If you want to say Xavier Worthy's what? Top 50, top 40, top 30 maybe college football player? I don't know. Depends on how you feel. But we have 2 of the top football players in college football on offense.
Yeah.
I need to leverage those people. So that's how I'm looking at in terms of building out my this situation of how I'm getting to why, where Quinn Ewers is and leveraging him playing football.
So my thing on this defense is I think this defense is going to I think the defense is going to be better this year. But also I think they're going to play a completely different style of football. From what I've seen in open practice highlight, shout out to Nash. Phenomenal video clips of all
Lord's
the stuff
work, Nash.
Yeah.
Y'all go check that video out on Nash Talks Texas YouTube channel if you haven't.
Also, if we lose games this year, blame it on Nash for giving all the opponents all the film. Just saying, by the way. But that, and then also hearing what happened in the scrimmage, I think we're going to be playing a whole lot closer to the ball. I don't see us playing this conservative game. It's just like, okay, if you end up getting beat, Deshaun Jameson, 40, 50 yards downfield, you just end up getting beat. Does that make me confident in the defense? No, but I think we are going to be able to get pressure. I think we are going to be able to play better against the run, given what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing. So I want to see what it looks like. I'm dying to see what it looks like come September 3rd. But you are right. I think there's going to be games where we have to score 45 to win, straight up. And there's so many different factors here. This defense works best whenever you're playing complementary football. We will be able to run the ball better this year, I think, than we were last year. But can you be consistent enough? That's my big concern. Are you consistent enough? With as much youth as we have, I think they're going to have some great plays. I think they're going to have some great drives. They're going to have some great opportunities. But also, I think there's just going to be some boneheaded mistakes. And I want to know, are those boneheaded mistakes going to lead to us losing football games, or are they going to lead to us just not competing to the best of our ability in a win? That's the difference between these good teams and these bad teams. A good team can have some ugly wins. Look at OU last year. 9 of those were ugly wins, man. You know what I mean?
Yep. Margin too, man. I mean, when there's some team, people ask every year, why are teams like Oklahoma State always, or Baylor, how are they making it to the SEC or AC or Big 12 championship game and all this type of stuff, or some of these teams that come up, and it's just not beating yourself sometimes. We know, they know. I've used this before, and I'm gonna continue to use it. If we scale, I'm a Marvel fan, so if we have a power scale of people's abilities, but we put it, say, 1 to 10. I believe teams like Alabama, if they come out that Saturday and their power scale, if they're playing and executing and coaching at a 10, you can't beat them. No. Right?
Nobody.
But how often do people hit 10 in terms of maxing out and they're just humming across the board, right? My issue with Texas over the past few years is we show up on Saturday and we're hitting at a 6. Effort, whatever, and to Kieran's point about consistency, right? But we show up against USC and we had an 8. We show up against LSU and we had an 8.5, 9, and LSU's at a 9, and that's how you get these classic games. But then we play Kansas and some of these other people, and we're at a 4 this week.
Yeah,
of what we're capable
4
of.
It's generous. Yeah, a 2. It's 50 points at home to Kansas. No, they were playing at
people
a 2.
Like Baylor. Dave Aranda Baylor team, they're never going to show up to a game less than a 7.
Yeah.
In terms of across the board, 7 out of at the minimum, they're going to show up at a 7. If Texas shows up at an 8, Texas wins the football game. The question is, what's Texas going to show up at? Same thing with Oklahoma State and some of these other Texas Tech, all these other teams. Like when we dropped 70 on Tech that day, we showed up at a 9 that day.
Yeah.
And we got busy. So there's certain games where we just don't. Alabama under Nick Saban, they're not showing up under an 8. If you're going to beat me, you're going to have to play perfect. And so Texas, to that consistency point, 100% agree, Karen. Yeah. Let's get to our final points before we wrap. Tariq, I'll let you go.
All right, we'll do this. Make sure we can write at 6. So our man Rod Babers, he was talking about this a lot last year. Texas really can't play complementary football if your defense really isn't there. You'll just have to really go all gas, no brakes all the time. So I agree with that to an extent, although I think people underestimate how much Jacoby Jones mattered to this defense last year. Just having, the difference between life and death is just having a slight pulse, and we had a slight pulse on the edge when Jacoby Jones was there, and when he didn't have that, it all fell apart. I think with Barron Sorrell, Justice Finkley, these other guys, and especially if you play Byron Murphy a lot, I think the front 7 will improve enough that the back 5 will also help. And so I think we'll play more complementary football, but Sark really can't take his foot off the gas ever. It always has to be all gas, no brakes. And with that, we can then write at 6.
Guys, thank you so much. Karen, Tariq, everybody knows where to find y'all over on Twitter. Make sure y'all give them both a follow. Tariq, Karen, we got the Mullet boys in here. We got the Are We Back Yet boys. Make sure you hit up busr.com/Fanatic, the official sponsor, official sportsbook, official betting partner of Fanatic Perspective. Congratulations to Quinn Ewers. Hudson Card, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. We out here. Hook 'em. Horns always up. Horns always up. Love you guys. Thank you.